gap is what, about 8 seconds now, something like this. Maybe a little bit more, but Rupp to the right of picture there, that's interesting, just running his own line. And Rupp, Schrader, Abdi Rahman. Wow, what a career he has had. He's still up there. Mayo, the early leader. Matt Lono, very much up to the fore in that lead pack. Jared Ward, of course, running sensibly. He'll be thinking. You can almost hear his brain ticking over, clicking over, like an old-fashioned computer, almost an abacus, I think, in the mind of the Mormon, who I think is still a dead cert for the team, barring disaster.
And you saw one of the complications of this course, given the fact that it's a loop course, a lot of turns. Galen Rupp was all the way over on the right of screen. He suddenly saw that the water stop was coming up, the fluid station. He had to go completely across the street to get to his bottle, which he did pick up successfully.
And just to reiterate how strange it is that these drink stations, special drink stations for these athletes, are every 4 miles. All major city marathons around the world, hundreds and hundreds of them, have those drink stations every 5K, and there are 8 bottles out there for the athletes, obviously 5, 10, 15, 20K, and so on. And there's Nestor McCourt. From them.
Well, you think about that, the hydration stations and the frequency of them, and think about what Bernard Lagat, who is in this, in just his 3rd marathon distance in this US Olympic marathon trial. He went back to Kenya for 6 weeks to train with the likes of Eliud Kipchoge, etc. and said that there's no drink stations, there's nobody there to hand you anything, you're just running. So he said this will be like a luxury. This will kind of be a little bit odd to have all of these hydration stations.
But he told us, you know, his inexperience in the marathon leaves him a little bit worried about the drink stations, because he said he's just not very good at running at 5-minute mile pace or faster, picking up the bottle and getting a good drink. You know, it's not just water. There's a special mix that each athlete has. It changes during the race according to whether they feel they need nutrients, glycogen, whatever it might be. And so, you know, it's important to get your bottle. It's important to drink the contents. It's all part of the strategy of the race.
Interesting to see Abdi there pushing on at the front of the pack. Abdi Rahman and Galen Rupp slotting in behind him. And is that Mayo back in 3rd place as we see them now? You just get the impression that there's a little bit of a cranking up in effort here. And Abdi seems to be the man that has instigated that.
In the women's, Emma Bates, Emily Sisson, Laura Thwaite, Sarah Hall, Molly Seidel, Kellen Taylor, new race leader, and it is the 2016 Marathon Trials winner, Galen Rupp. He's going shoulder to shoulder with Brian Schrader.
Well, I'll tell you what, the story could be told in mile 15. Schrader took 5:06 for that mile, Rupp 4:51. So Rupp took 15 seconds out of him in 1 mile. Now Rupp looked very uncomfortable on that U-turn just then, and Schrader has momentarily retaken the lead. But this is beginning to unfold, to roll out the way we expected. And Galen Rupp there bouncing along in that characteristic style.
You know, those U-turns get more and more difficult as it gets later in the race, and your muscles are more and more tired, and you also don't want to go too quickly to risk slipping there. But Rupp taking control, at least at this moment, of the pace, and dragging a few other people with him.
And this is right here in downtown Atlanta as they have begun the 3rd and final 8-mile loop. It's a 2.2-mile loop to finish once they get through this, as this course kind of zigzags and weaves its way across the eastern side of the 85-75 downtown connector and then heads directly north up Peachtree. Many of you who have been to Atlanta over the years, you know that there are so many streets called
Okay, tell him to
Peachtree.
give me your computer.
Peachtree Street, Peachtree Battle, Peachtree. It's all over the place, but it is Peachtree all the way up north of 17th Street on the way up towards Buckhead, through Midtown, and then they do that sharp U-turn and come back on down. But this is where Galen may assert his authority on this marathon.
Absolutely. I mean, he's just covered his 16th mile in 4:57. Schrader a 5:20. So Rupp here has taken the gloves off, so to speak, to use boxing parlance, and is just beginning to stride out now. There are others trying to get with him. You can see in the slipstream, almost single file. one or two athletes trying to behind him. We'll ID those for you as soon as we can. But Rupp, I think here, is racing in earnest. He's obviously been holding back a long, long time, but it's good to see, Craig, Galen, after a really tough year and a half, looking as fit as a fiddle, as we would say.
Well, impressive to see him take the lead. You would have thought all the unknowns about whether he could run the marathon distance after dropping out of his last marathon. As you mentioned, the difficult year and a half. Now he's backing off the pace. Yeah, asking the great veteran Abdi Abdurrahman to share the leading duties. And Galen Rupp, a guy who trains by himself almost all of the time. This is unusual for him to have others to run with.
Let's check in with Lewis Johnson, because Lewis has watched all of this unfold. That is the Rupp chase down of Schrader, and then this reformed front pack. Lewis?
You might want to wait, Lindsay. I'm in the buildings. I'm losing audio.
And that is Lewis there. He knows that he's in a difficult transmission position there.
Well, that was interesting because Rupp put in a surge for a few minutes, built up a lead, raked in Schrader, and then has very visibly eased off, as if to say, right, you know, we've reset the race. Here we go. We've got, what, an hour and 22 on the clock. We've probably got about 45, 50 minutes of running to come. And we'll have a reset and let's take stock of things. So it's almost like Galen is having a breather here with Mayo and Abdi beside him.
You know, if you're feeling good, not a bad way to do it, right? It's makes it a little less painful. All you got to do is be in the top three. That's what it's all about. Of course, he mentioned he wants to win the race, but if another couple of people drop off and they've gapped the rest of the field, suddenly you're on the Olympic team and you haven't had to take any risks. If he'd taken the lead and continued to push it, there's always a risk involved.
And he openly acknowledged kind of cherishing that opportunity here in Atlanta this year at these Olympic marathon trials, because time was not of the essence. It was the top three positions. You didn't need to go out and push it too hard. It has been a dramatically different, the complexion of the two marathons, the men's and the women's. Women's so different, with that lead pack, that large lead pack staying together for the entire time. While here you've got Abdi, you've got Rupp, you've got Mayo. Two very, very different races, and you've got all of the favourites from the women all together.
Yeah, 72 minutes on the clock for the ladies, and still no committal. Nobody has really tested this field, pushed on. Laura Threet was leading for a couple of miles. There she is, right in the middle, and that's a reddish top with a black. Really sedate 57.02, a 5:28 that 10th mile, and then a 5:36, a 5:35. Kellen Taylor beginning to make a presence felt there in that white top and the white cap.
I need to just let you know that just at a moment's notice, we may be breaking from the marathon coverage for
a huge thing to take on. I've got friends who are booked to go to the Tokyo Marathon. They've taken the time off work, booked the flights, booked the hotels, booked the place in the race. They're still going to go out there for a long weekend and enjoy some time in the Japanese capital. So, you know, they're not stopping people travelling, which of course would be extreme. But it's a real dilemma.
Galen Rupp and Augustus Mayo, first and second in the men's marathon on the left-hand side of your screen. This is a part of a tremendous comeback story for Galen Rupp in his pursuit of another Olympic appearance and perhaps another Olympic medal. And he said, you know, within your entourage, within your support crew, within your family, you have to use everybody at your disposal. Sometimes you have to really listen to them. My wife, in particular, he said, told me that around that Chicago Marathon, where I was probably a bit too stubborn and I pushed it coming back from surgery and recovery and rehab, my wife just said to me, you're kind of half limping. You don't look like yourself. You're not running like yourself. And you need to listen to those people in your support crew and your family.
No, absolutely right. It's easy to forget that every one of these athletes is the spearhead of a support team. You know, coaches, physicians, masseurs, agents, husbands, wives, family, who make huge commitments on behalf of the athletes. So we've talked about the hopes and dreams of these athletes. There's so many people watching this and on the streets of Atlanta who have got their hearts in their mouths as well.
Well, it was only 4 years ago on the streets of Los Angeles, California, that here on NBC Sports we were commentating about who and commenting on who may make it to Rio. And front and centre, along with Galen Rupp, was Mev Kobleski. He was right at the front. They were dueling, they were dicing for a spot at the Rio Olympics, and we wanted to
see the competitors, the best of the males and females trying to represent our country in Tokyo, and to be here for that is a great honor.
So Craig, Tim, myself, Dina Castor, Lewis, we've all been talking about it all broadcast long. What do you make of this course and the weather conditions, in particular the wind?
Well, 26.2 miles is very challenging, and the hills of Atlanta even more, but to have that wind is just another level. So patience, I think, is going to be a virtue. You know, this here, the lead is going for the man, set up right now. Right now, just got to get who's in the top three, you know, to get back and make that decision, and obviously the decision be made now, and can they hold out to the finish line?
Well, you got Abdi Abdurrahman, an old warrior who was on many teams with you over the years. What do you think of seeing him out there?
Well, it's always inspiring to see him and Bernard and others that are on the females who are the age. You know, he was my roommate in 2000. That's 20 years ago, and those people have driver license, going to college, or trying to get ready to get their legal age to drink. So it's been a long time, but to see him run there is great. You know, just very inspiring, and you know, obviously he's a tough competitor at the heart, and he's there to try and exchange with the young ones.
Bev, how badly would you like to be out there now? I mean, I know you've been retired for a little while, but I mean, there has to be a part of your heart that is thumping and saying, geez, I'd like to be in the thick of that.
Absolutely. I mean, once you're part of that sport, so you're always going to be part of it. And for me, it was in the back of my head when I did my last competitive marathon at the New York City Marathon. I got the qualifier, but they did an amazing job to celebrate my career, and it was hard to come back. But in the back of my head, I was thinking about it, but then, you know, gotta be able to be thankful for what you have and those opportunities, and to be able to see those other people making the Olympic team is just uninspiring.
So we mentioned 4 years ago you were running in these marathon trials in pursuit of a fourth Olympic appearance. Bernard Legat on screen attempting a 6th Olympic appearance here today. It looks a little bit beyond him at the moment, but what do you think? Just give your assessment on Legat.
Legat is talk about range, or half from 1500 meters to the marathon, and he's been there in that career with Avi and myself for a long time, and you know, the range that you have to be able to be a marathoner. You know, he did a couple of them, and the first one didn't go as well, but he broke the Masters record in Australia, and he's, you know, right now I can see him, it's not going the way he planned it to because of the weather and the mileage and the hills. You know, that's where the 1500 meter and the marathon distinguish.
We talked a lot about the Atlanta Olympics, given where we are here, and Bernard Legat told us a great story about how he ran in the Kenyan trials in 1996. He made the final running a personal best in the semifinal, only finished 7th in the final, so he didn't get to come. But he was leaving to go to Washington State. He was going to be a freshman at U.S. University when the Olympic team from Kenya came back at the airport. And he got to meet some of the heroes for Kenya from that games. And that sort of sent him off with a lot of motivation to one day follow in their footsteps.
You know, it's a great story that he has, you know, and Abby and I, back in the days, we used to be the collegiate college. Abby went to Arizona, went to UCLA, so that part was still there. But 96 Atlanta, the 100th anniversary here, I was torn because I really badly wanted to be here, but I was a broke college student. And Rayford Johnson, the great Rayford Johnson, his son Josh Johnson was my teammate at UCLA. He came home for me when I was at UCLA with a t-shirt that's his 100th anniversary with the flags of the world, and I got inspired by that. And then to be able to see the legacy of that, you know, Olympics here in 96 and to come here for the trials is just amazing.
Family is so much an important part of the marathoner's career, journey, and story. We saw your family with you 4 years ago. For Bernard Legat, he just said he wanted to show his kids, you know, whether he makes this team or not, he wanted to show his kids that at his age and at this stage of his career, that dad is still pushing hard and still pushing the limit.
I mean, being a parent is the greatest reward there is, and I'm thankful for my wife Jordanos for allowing me to be able to have the training camps. And yeah, my motivation in 2016 and 2012 was that, just to make sure that my girls can remember what their dad did, and to be able to take them to London Olympic Games, to take them to Rio, and you know, in London they remember more of the gelato in Italy than the race, but in Rio they definitely remember it.
Hey, you made the Olympic team for you.
Nowhere you get a little aches and pains, but you have nutritionally you have to adjust, cross training you have to adjust. You know, the mileage is not how many miles I used to run when you were like, I gotta get 120 or 125. But here you got to stay healthy. healthy and do a lot of country.
Well, Meb, thank you so much for taking the time. And congratulations on being the honorary starter as well. Thank you for coming and spending some time with me. Real quick before we go to the break, did you ever think you'd
It's okay,
US
buddy.
Marathon trials with 685 qualifiers?
I did not. Congratulations to all the qualifiers and
Hey, what's up?
and his team.
What's up? It's okay. Okay. Go get slippers for Papa. Yes. Okay, Daddy. Wait. Sin, go get slippers for Papa.
This is the Olympic and
Papa needs to get slippers. Okay.
part of that.
Thank you very much and continue to enjoy retirement.
Thanks so much.
Meb Kevleski, who has been an inspiration to Abdi Abdurrahman, Augusto Maya, and Leonard
What up? Papa.